Good evening. Welcome to my channel, Marvin Brower Author. Tonight I'll be reading my first novel, She'll Die by the Sword. It is available on Amazon, on Kindle Unlimited, paperback, and hardcover. I will be reading from the hardcover, and this is Chapter 1, the Prologue. Henry woke with a start. His shirt was soaked with sweat. Shivering, he groped in the straw for his blanket. It was wadded up below his feet. As he rewrapped himself in it, he listened in the darkness. The calm breathing of the horses in their stables reassured him. He lay back down and closed his eyes. For a couple of minutes, he could not remember what had awoken him, and then the memory returned. It was fuzzy at first, like bangs of fog rolling off the nearby Bay of Biscay, and then it grew increasingly vivid. He had dreamed of the wolfhound and the greyhound bitch again, third time this month. In the first two dreams, this sleek greyhound leading her pair of puppies had visited a mangy wolf. The gray he-wolf, growling all the while, licked the frightened puppies. They were disquieting dreams, but tonight was worse. This third dream was hideous. In this dream, the bitch, looking sleeker, coat shining, eyes gleaming, carried the puppies out of her lair. She laid them down before the glowering wolf, and he ate them. Prologue 2. Coal, black rain clouds threatened as they rolled off the bay and over the marsh. The wind chilled Renee. With one hand, she pulled her white coat close around her slender shoulders. With the other hand, she checked her prancing gelding. She was worried, deeply worried. Not of the impending storm, that was the least of her concerns, for they were near their destination, the small fortress of Anouar de la Baie. They would find shelter there. No, her worries stemmed from her mother, the Comtesse Elaine. She looked back. Her mother did not ride well and was overmatched by the spirited white mare. A squire was even now fastening it to a lead rope. She looked like an olive stuck stiffly on a stick, albeit men would have added that she was a very luscious olive. Why had her mother insisted on this trip? Why had she forced Renee to come? It was not as if they were close. Her mother had ignored her from the day of her birth, remaining distant and cold. Renee had no fond childhood memories of being rocked to sleep or of receiving affectionate embraces. And why Anouar? Why this marsh-laden, mosquito-breeding, forgotten corner of Guyenne in southwestern France? Yes, she knew her uncle. Sieur de Bixmarch was here, but he was of no account, a worthless man whom she had met once and did not wish to meet again. Something was wrong. She had first suspected it when her mother had given her a white, intricately embroidered satin dress, a dress fit for a daughter of the king, and yet given to her. She had known something was wrong this morning when her mother had not only personally brushed her hair, but had also suggested Renee might practice her walk, to be a little more womanly. All of this troubled Renee. Now, as they approached the little village, Renee turned her head toward the clouds and began to pray. Saint Catherine, protect me. Saint Catherine, they say you have a special place for unmarried girls. Watch over me. She stopped her prayer and looked at the unkempt huts. Dirty-faced children watched as the armed escort passed, but she felt no peace. No sense her prayer would suffice. She must seek a higher power, the Virgin Mother. Mary, Mother of God, watch over. She stopped her prayer in mid-sentence. It, too, felt powerless, and her sense of need loomed. What could she do? She had never felt this sense of danger before. It almost choked her in its intensity. Could she approach the Savior, Christ himself? Was that allowable? would he listen, even to one like her? She had missed Mass the last 2 weeks and had not been to confession for a month. But she must approach him. Her need was too great. Wrapping her hands tightly around the reins, she dropped her head and whispered, Jesu, 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 Christus, I am in trouble, in danger. Jesu, help me. Then she was silent, not knowing what else to say. When she raised her head, she saw a shaft of light piercing the stratus. It fell on a small wooden building to the left of the gates. It lasted a few seconds and then faded. As they passed through the wooden gates of the fortress and dismounted, she looked toward the building where the light had fallen. A knight stood in front of it, and within the shadows a tall youth was throwing down straw. The servants led her horse to the building. It was the stables. The light from the clouds had fallen on the stables. A warmth filled her.